When it starts, he says, go! Christian would jump up in the air would jump back into the water going. Then he says, hand sign saying, water style, breathing underwater jutsu. So now he can open his mouth underwater and he basically grows gills, but they can revert back to normal skin. Okay, no he doesn't. He can just breathe underwater. He goes. About 5 minutes later, Kakashi says, there's no way he can stay under that long. Then Christian says, Earth style digging jutsu. Earth style water drill, Earth style mud drill jutsu, and creates a drill out of earth, and digs through the ground going. Then he places a flying Raijin seal on his foot. Then Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura do the original plan thingy to try and get him, and they can't. Then when they're all getting him, they go after him, they all go for a punch on him. Kakashi's kind of worried because he can't do it. Then he kicks them all away, but then Christian Flying Raijin's right next to him saying, thanks for the bells, buddy. Then grabs and throws them to Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke, since there's 3 bells. He goes, what the? He says, Flying Raijin seal, and spins a kunai on his finger spins the Flying Raijin kunai on his finger going, shh. He gave all 3 of the bells to them. He goes, you all pass. Christian says, yeah, I know the goal was teamwork, except I didn't really know how to communicate with these guys. Then when they get home, Christian says, oh God, I'm so tired. Then he instantly goes to sleep. But then he hears so much loud noises. And it's Minato and Kushina arguing. Minato doesn't actually want to keep Christian here. That was just a lie. Because they just wanted to see him once. And Kushina actually wants him to stay. She says, Minato, he's our child. I love him. I want him to stay here. Without my permission, you sent him to Mount Yaboku and said that he was always out, and that you always said that Kakashi was watching him. You lied for long years. He goes, I don't like him. Well, Naruto, and Menma are all kind of scared because like this is getting into a fight soon. Christian appears from all 3 of them, and Menma says, you're the one who caused this arguing. He goes, I've been in my room for the last 20 minutes. He goes, if you never came back, then Mom and Dad would have never argued. He says, this is Dad. He shouldn't have complained. Then he flying Raijins them all to Mount Miyaboku, saying, there you go, have fun. I'll go stop the arguing. Then he appears back, and then he sees both of them punching each other. Christian says, alright, well, this is illegal. This is illegal for Minato to do. Then he appears in both of them and shoots like a chakra pressure, blasting them both back, saying, I don't want to hear another bit of both of your arguing. One more and this whole village is destroyed. Got it, Minato? And Mom, just stop arguing. No matter what you do, it's not going to get to him. He's still gonna think I'm a mistake. He doesn't like me. He's favoriting. He's not a good father. There's no point. He says, well, we don't want you. Then Minato yells, well, none of us want you living here. Menma doesn't. I don't. Naruto doesn't. Naruto barely even does. Christian says, Naruto appears back saying, yes, I actually do want him to stay. I don't want him to leave. He says, well, I want him out of my house. He goes, fine, I'll go leave. And I'm taking Mom and Naruto with me. There's no way I'm leaving without something. And there's no way I'm living with you. Then they leave. Christian says, stupid. But then he says, I just realized he could kick us out of the village. But really, we're not gonna leave. But I'm not leaving if he does kick us out. But then he says, oh yeah, and you guys are hereby banished from the Leaf Village. Christian says, can't tell, buddy. He says, we're not leaving, and I don't care. You don't own this village. Did you pay for the village? Nah, Hashirama Senju did. And what would Hashirama think if you kicked your own family out of the village just because you didn't want one of your children? What would the Sage of Six Paths think? What would God think? Oh, they'd probably send you straight to hell for that. Then they leave. Then he says, you guys are banished. Get out of our village. Get out of my village. He goes, I'll fight you. If I win, I'm promoted to Jonin. Every one of my squad is promoted to Jonin. I mean, promoted to fully fledged Genin. You give me the scroll of sealing. We stay in the village. You have no power over us. Got it? He goes, yeah, sure, whatever. You won't win. The whole match is on live TV, and they're watching. Everyone, half the people want the fourth Hokage to win. Half the people want the children to win. The fourth Hokage did a fake crying thing, talking about how his family hates him. Everyone's yelling, shaming Kushina, Christian, and Naruto, saying that you guys are monsters for making the fourth Hokage cry. Christian says, shut up, all of you! I have fucking recording footage of the fourth Hokage wanting me out of his house for no exact reason. He presses a button, and then a hologram appears of all their argument. Everyone is kind of mad at the fourth Hokage, so then they all cheer him on. And it's him versus Minato, he goes. But some of them say that he still doesn't stand a chance against the fourth Hokage. When it starts, he rushes at Minato, and they both clash kunai, going, Christian says, you've already lost this match. He goes, what are you talking about? He says, I've already marked you. You can't mark me, though. Want to know why? He says, why? Minato stabs him. Everyone goes, oh, but then he poofs. He says, I've been a clone. Then he throws a kunai right behind him, and then says, Shiden! And blasts Minato in the air. He goes, ah! Christian says, fire style, great fireball jutsu! Minato appears behind him and says, Rasengan! Christian backflips and kicks Minato down, saying, Kagebushi! And then he says, Odama Rasengan! Odama Rasengan! Then goes, and hits him with it, going, and then beats him. Or then sends Minato back. He goes, then Minato goes for a punch on him. Christian catches it and throws him back. He says, now for all of my power. He said. Then he turns into Sage Mode and punches Minato back, knocking him back. And he's knocked out for a couple of seconds. Christian says, now for the Uzumaki family. He says, Shadow Clone Jutsu. 2 Shadow Clones come in. And then one of them puts in the wind element. The other puts in the shape transformation. I really want to be the creator of Rasen Shuriken. He creates, then one of them does a shape transformation, and Christian does the Rasengan, and they go, stage on! Then it's finished, it turns into a ring. Then he holds it out to his side, saying, wind style! Rasen ring! Everyone goes, woohoo! Then Minato goes, then he goes, ah! And throws it at Minato. Minato creates 2 shadow clones, but then they all get hit by it, going, ah! Christian says, then he activates QB Sage mode, going, ah! And fights him, going, and then finally sends Minato back. He says, water style, Seiton! Then he says, water style, raging wave! Then he goes, Minato, it's raging against Minato, going, and then he says, then when it's about to hit Minato's about to block it, but then Christian says, thunderclap! Throws a kunai behind it, then Christian says, fire style fireball jutsu! Shooting it behind Minato so he can't escape, they clap against him and Minato's knocked out. Christian says, but then Minato gets back and says, you're not defeating me that easily. Then he activates Sage Mode, Christian activates. Then they both clash, but Minato is winning now. Christian goes, damn it! He says, Toad Bomb Oil! Shooting Toad Bomb Oil at him, which blocks his vision, he can't use ninjutsu. He says, now here goes nothing. Minato breaks through this and says, Rasengan! Then Christian goes, oh, Dama Rasengan! Then he pulls out a flying rising kunai. They rush at each other. Christian jumps up in the air and throws the... Then says, Kagebushi! And 20 Shadow Clones keep on going. Christian's Shadow Clones go, Uzumaki! Christian says, then they go 2K Barrage! Then when he punches him up in the air, Christian goes, Damara Sengun! Ah! And defeating Minato, he goes, ah! And he says, and to finish it, lightning style on top of it. Then it turns into a lightning blade kind of and explodes. Minato falls to the ground being defeated. Everyone cheers him on going, woo! He says, now we have all the power over the village. And we don't get banished. Christian says, here goes nothing. He says, what is your first rule? He says, my first rule is, the fourth Hokage has no power over anybody. Next, I want a new Hokage. That's nicer and will not hurt any of the villagers, he says. And I know the perfect person. He says, reverse summoning. And reverse summons two things. He says, Jiraiya, Master Jiraiya, could you take me to, where Tsunade is? He says, yeah. Well, actually, Christian's met Tsunade, so then he flying rush and saying, excuse me, Tsunade, could you be the new Hokage? Minato's being stripped of his title because of how bad he acted as a Hokage. He goes, what does Minato do? He says, well, he basically kicked me, Mom, and Naruto out of the house because apparently he didn't like me. He goes, that's awful. I will become the fifth Hokage. Christian creates it. Then he reverse summoning them to the Leaf Village saying, here is our fifth Hokage! Everyone goes, woo-hoo! Then Tsunade becomes the fifth Hokage much earlier than in canon. Lord Third is still alive. Basically, this is the first time 3 Kage have ever been alive. Besides the future generation, everybody, where Naruto, Kakashi, and Tsunade are alive. So let's get into this. So, he goes, this is the only time I'm using my full power. He says, woohoo, I did it. I did it. Then when they head home, I'm gonna say this is about a 1 month time skip, but during that 1 month time skip, the Jonin person allows Kurenai, Asuma, and Guy, and Kakashi to all live in one house, well, it's kinda meaningful, because they need to have Jonin meetings. So when he does that, so Christian visits sometimes to train every day, and he learns all kinds of new genjutsu skill, the whole all Team 7, and all of the teams switch senseis every day to get new training skills. My guy is probably the weirdest one to go with, but finally, and Christian can finally use one of the gates. He can use about 3 gates. He can use the 7th gate of shock, only in a quick burst. If he does it for a long time, then his bones will easily break. He also has mastered QBI's form. Let's just go straight into it. He's also mastered the Uzumaki chain and his Uzumaki Gon. If people don't know what that is, it's like the 9-tail seal in his eyes, and also his eye is red with like the 9-tail sealing marker all around it. It's only for Jinchuriki who are born with the 9 tails and have red hair. So like literally no one in the Naruto series. I just made that up. So let's just go on to the Land of Waves. I'm going to skip the Land of Wave arcs because I don't like it. It's pretty boring. It's probably the boringest arc, even though I like it. It's pretty boring. Let's just go on to the Chunin exams. So Kakashi announces that they will be going on the Chunin exams. But he will be switching up the squads. They will be switching up the squad for each event. One squad for the normal... He says... But then they realize, nah, that's kind of stupid. So then all the teams get ready and then they head out. Minato is begging Kushina every day, saying sorry, but Kushina will not forgive him for what he did. he tried to, one, kick her and two of their children out of the house. Then, he also tried to get them kicked out by fighting their own son. Everyone in the village is disappointed in you and is allowed to call you stuff. You cannot attack them or you'll instantly be sent to the maximum security prison. So after this, Christian is training 10 times as harder. So let's just get on to the tuning exams. He'd easily pass the written exam going... Oh, and Kushina is guarded by about 20 Jonin. About 5 Jonin come to her house every day and help around. And they don't mind it because she actually is nice to them and gives them like gifts sometimes, maybe like making them a dinner. And they don't mind. They love it. So then on the exam, and then after that, let's just go into the Forest of Death. Team 7 would get ready. Christian says, I'm ready. They go, yeah, let's get started. When they go, Christian says, ah, and charges up his power. So then when they go, a giant wind blast comes out of them. Christian says, Sasuke kicks Naruto away and picks up Sakura. Christian jumps above it. Going, huh. He says, now what do I do? Then a mouth comes right at his neck. He goes, want to try to bite down. He punches it back, going, and says, holy crap. Then he binds up Orochimaru's neck. He says, I can't retract it. But then spikes appear all around the trains. He says, you move 1 inch and these things will cut your neck up. But then out of nowhere, he's kicked by someone from behind and goes, and it's another Orochimaru. Then he says, there's nothing I can do. Then Sasuke says, first I have Fireball Jutsu. Sakura slaps 3 healing tags on all of them. So then they have basically invincible. Not to get punched in the face, but he can just come back for an even stronger punch since the healing tag. They go, ah. Sakura is constantly making, with her medical ninjutsu, more healing tags, going, healing tag, healing tag, healing tag, until but she can't make too many and put them on her, because then they'll become numb to actual damage. So then if they get actually hurt, they won't feel it, which is not good. Then they're going, Sakura says, then she sees that they're being pushed back. Sakura jumps up in the air going, cha, and punches through 3 branches, punching Orochimaru down, going, ah. Then Orochimaru creates 3 snakes. Christian bites down on his finger, going, summoning jutsu, and Gamabunta appears. He goes, right, and easily defeats all the snakes. Christian activates Sage Mode, and then Ma and Pa appear. He says, let's go. Then he air punches them out of there. They go, Christian kicks him in the face, he goes, then he says, Rasengan Barrage! But then Orochimaru bites Sasuke in the neck and gets away. Christian goes, get him, Gamabunta! He shoots out a toe bomb oil, and Christian says, Fire Style Dragon Flame Jutsu! And goes, which assists the toe bomb oil while Naruto's throwing paper bombs at it, so then it actually does burn Orochimaru alive. Then Gamabunta disappears, saying that their summoning contract is done. Christian releases his thing. Releases his Sage Mode, and then he picks up Sasuke, and Naruto got 5-pronged seal, so Christian takes him away. Takes him away and says, let's go, and they hide under a tree. Then a sound blast comes and Christian says, Earth Style Mud Wall, and blocks the attack. Then instantly he sees the Senmon coming at him, and he catches it with 2 fingers, and says, weak. Then throws it forward, going, and stabs her in the head. Let's just get into this. So, when he's fighting, he goes, so then when he finally defeats them all and goes, "Defu 180, crazy, think about the word." Let's just go into the final exams. Let's just say that everyone passed their exams, and let's just on the final exam, they're gonna do something different. It's gonna be a team battle, which means each teammate will be getting Psy on their team. Christian would be training with Kakashi, but then Christian takes away Minato's garp and hides it from him and says, "You're allowed to be normal, have normal rules as a shinobi." Got it? You can have normal rules as shinobi. You can be a Jonin. All you want now. He goes, "I'm really sorry this time. I really am." He says, "Well, you've wasted one of your warnings." He goes, "Please, I'm seriously sorry." And I actually want to make Minato really sorry this time. He actually is, because he doesn't know how to feel when he's not loved. After Naruto and Kushina and Christian left, Naruto and Menma have not liked Minato after what he did. So he's training with Minato going, Minato trains him in all his flying Raijin techniques, and he actually wants his son to be super strong. Then he says he wants to teach him the secret technique of his clan. He says, then he does hand signs, then Christian goes, "Ah!" and then yellow, and then red lightning goes around him, like one for all full cowling. It's like the Namikaze lightning. He says, "Namikaze lightning, it depends what color your hair is, and it's what color your lightning is." He says, "Since you have red hair, it's red lightning." He says, "I want to be called the Red Flash now." He goes, "That seems like a fitting nickname." Then he creates like a fire style Rasengan and says, "Now I'm really the Red Flash." He goes, "Just you wait. Other villages, my family and my village my family's gonna shuck you with all their power." So after this, Christian would charge up a fist. Well, actually, first team is Team 8. It's Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino's team that has Sion with them. It's Team 10 is Shikamaru. Team 8 versus Team 7. And Team 8 is Kiba's team. Christian says, "I'll fight him. I'll fight them." They're gonna choose something out. Christian says, "I'll let you three fight. I wanna see you guys' teamwork is really, really good, so I wanna see you guys go." Hinata says, "I won't be holding back, Sakura." So he goes, "Bring it on, Hinata." He said, and Sasuke versus Shino. Then they start to fight. Naruto defeats Kiba with little to no difficulty, going, "Ah!" Then Sasuke defeats Shino with a fireball, and Hinata and Sakura would tie. But since Team 7 wins. The next, Team 10 versus Team Guy. I'm pretty sure Team 10 will win this match. I mean, look at their raw skill. And they also have Psy on their team? Yeah, they're winning. And then we got Team Dosu versus Team Gaara. Doesn't matter if... And Team Gaara would easily win this match. The next one is Team 10 versus Team 7, the team with 4 and 4. Christian says, "Alright guys, since there's 4 against 4, we have an even match. I'm fighting Sai. You guys can Sakura, you take on Ino. Naruto, you take on Shoji. Sasuke, you take on Shikamaru." He says, "Let's get started." When it starts, Christian and Sai are clashing, going, but then Christian easily cranks it up. Sai shoots a beast at him, Christian binds it up, and then releases it. Then boom, it splatters. It gets in Christian's eyes and he goes, "Damn it!" Then he ducks below and then actually ducks Sai's kick and catches it, saying, then he says, "Sage mode." Then he activates his Uzumaki gun and his master with Sealing Jutsu go. He spams hand sign so fast, then he says, "Sealing Jutsu, Sealing Barrier," which blocks all of Sai's attacks. They can hit them, but they can't hit us. Christian says, "Odama Rasengan," and then defeats the entire team with one Odama Rasengan. And that's it for this.